Welcome, friends. We are your hosts, Sandy and Wade, baby best friends turned husband and wife and business partners.
This podcast is for the dreamers, the movers and shakers, and those who seek to attract their dream life.
Strap in. Getting magnetic in 3, 2, 1.
Like attracts like. If you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
You just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way.
This moment in time, this is your time to rise.
This episode of Getting Magnetic is brought to you by Transistor.fm. Do you want to start your own podcast? Have you ever felt like you want to start your own podcast? We use Transistor.fm to publish each episode of Getting Magnetic, and they help us distribute it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the platforms. They also give us stats on our most popular episodes. We can see how many downloads and listens per episode. It's the best and easiest way to manage your podcast. I absolutely love it because I can just log into our account. I can see what episodes do people like? What kind of topics do people like? It gives you what you track grows, right? It gives you analytics into how do I grow and build my podcast. And our listeners can get 15% off your first year when you sign up at transistor.fm/magnetic. Again, that's transistor.fm/magnetic for 15% off your first year. We will drop that link in the show notes. Now let's get to the show. What's up, y'all? It's Wade in the studio today. I've got baby Cam just down for a nap, sleeping in the room right next to me. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm fired up right now. I just finished a workout. I got the endorphins flowing. I got all these thoughts and ideas, and I find that those are my most creative and best times. And in the past, I've been like, oh, I'm going to write down this topic and I'll do it later. But when I wait, I lose that inspiration. I lose that motivation. I lose those thoughts and that flow state and all the ideas and feelings inside of me that I had when I thought of the original idea. So what I've realized is when I have those ideas, and a lot of times they come when I'm listening to something motivating or I'm working out or I'm in that flow state, they come to me and I've got to just go with it. I've got to just go get on the mic and record. And that's what I'm doing right now. Cam is asleep next to me. I said, you know what? If Cam wakes up, she's got to hear these things. This is going to help her and benefit her, but she's got some white noise next to her ear, so hopefully she's snoozing. Babies should be able to nap through anything though too, right? But it's actually really fitting because today I want to talk about legacy. It is my word for the year. It's my word for the decade. It's my word for life, because everything that I do, I've come to realize in my 30s, it's taken me some time to realize, everything I do is towards building my legacy. We aren't promised tomorrow. Our physical body's not promised tomorrow. We don't know how long we're here for, but our legacies last. They last beyond us. And so everything I do either adds to or takes away from my legacy. And I've realized building my legacy is what is of the utmost importance to me. And that sounds maybe selfish, but it is not intended to be, because the biggest part of my legacy is family, is my child, Cameron, is my marriage with Sandy, is the legacy we can leave that lasts way beyond us, that lasts way beyond our physical bodies in our lifetime. That's the goal, right? Like Martin Luther King, 50 years later, we're still talking about him and celebrating him because he left a legacy. He changed the world. He changed America. He changed the world for an entire race. Like his legacy lives on, and it will continue to in history books. Legacy is everything, in my opinion. And so I've got a question for you. And it's because I realized I was reflecting on my life and I was like, whoa, I wish I was asked this question 5 years ago, 7 years ago, even 10 years ago. And I want to ask you, whose legacy are you building? Let that sink in. Whose legacy are you building? Are you building your employers? Are you building your bosses? Are you building a politicians? Are you building a celebrities? What about, are you building your favorite rapper or singer or movie star? Are you building people's legacies on social media? Whose legacy are you building? Because guess what? All the energy you pour into those aforementioned people, your employer, your boss, the politician that you post all the memes about, or the vice versa, the celebrity, that you care so much about. You click on their articles, you follow them on social media, you like their stuff, you watch their movies, you watch their reality TV shows, your favorite rapper. Hey, I love music too. But, posting about them, reposting their stuff, listening to their music, that's all great. That's all great. But know that you're not building your legacy, you're building theirs. What about people on social media? You're consuming all of their stuff. It's building their platform. It's building their legacy, not yours. All this energy you pour outwards is building other people's legacy. And guess what? It's time to build your own. It's time to start the business. How long have you been thinking about either A, starting the business, or B, going all in on the business? Starting a business is your legacy. Working for a company is their legacy. I hate to say it, but it is true. And I'm not knocking employees. I've been an employee for the majority of my working career, but it's building someone else's legacy. It's time to go all in on the business. It's time to start the business. If you haven't, if you were sent this podcast, it's time to start building your legacy. It's time to start the business. It's time to eliminate all distractions and go after what you truly want in life, because that is your legacy. What you truly desire in life, your gift, it was put on your heart for a reason. It's there for a reason, and it is up to you to go after it. Whether you believe in God, whoever your God is, they put a calling, a gift, a purpose, a passion on your heart. And it's time for you to fulfill that. It's time for you to go after that, because that is your legacy. Because when you do go after that, you will not feel like you are working. You would do it for free. It is called passion. And when passion takes over, you're limitless. You don't feel like you're working. You feel unstoppable. You feel abundant. You feel like you can do anything. And that is your legacy. Your legacy, your destiny, it is up to you to go after, to chase your gift. I said it on the last episode, chase your gift, chase your passion. Nothing replaces passion. Nothing. You at a job that you're not passionate about, you're not building your legacy. You're paying your bills. You're paying your bills. You're getting by. You're in your comfort zone. This is what everyone does. I'm safe. I'm secure. I know when my paycheck's coming. I know how much it is. I got benefits. I don't have to work that hard. I don't have to put myself out there. I'm taken care of. Everything is fine. You're not building your legacy. Go after what you want. Build your legacy. A business is one of the best ways to get there. The actual business might not be your legacy. It might just be a vehicle for you to live out your legacy, to start the nonprofit, to have more freedom in your life, to travel, to start the photography business, to spend time with your family, whatever it is. It's time to eliminate distractions. Go after what you truly want. It's time to get healthy. It's time to get in shape. It's time to invest in your future self, physically, mentally, emotionally. How long have you been waiting to get healthy, waiting for the right things to fall in place? Whose legacy are you building? A big part of legacy is your time and your impact here on earth. You extend that time by eating right. You extend that time by exercising. You extend that time by thinking positively, by meditating, by spending time with quality people, by having deep relationships. There's a lot of ways. But the longer you live, the more opportunity you have to build your legacy. It's time to invest in your future. It's time to go to the conference. It's time to go on the work trip, even though it costs you $500 or $1,000 and you got to fly in, or you got to make it work. You got to split a hotel room with 4 people. You got to have protein shakes instead of go out to eat. It's time to go to the conference. It's time to invest in yourself. It's time to go all in. It's time to start the course. It's time to start the mastermind. It's time to hire the coach. It's time to start the business. It's time to go. The time is now. It's time to start investing your money. It doesn't matter how big you start, how big the conference is, how big the investment is, how big the coach is, how big anything else is, how big the business is. It's just time to just start. Put one foot in front of the other. It's time to start pouring into your marriage like it was your honeymoon. What's your marriage like right now, day in, day out? How do you invest in that? That's a big part of your legacy. I promise you that. Do you pour into your marriage like you were courting your husband or wife? Are you comfortable? Are you like, I already got them? Nah, I won't work as hard. Nah, I don't need to spend as much, emotional energy on them. Nah, I promise you, pouring into your marriage, your relationships, it's an asset. It will produce so much more than money could ever give you. And it's a big part of your legacy, because what you can do together as two is so much greater than one. Your children, spending quality time with your family. That's what I believe is your biggest legacy here on earth. You have the opportunity to guide, to mold, to shepherd a small human through life until, it's time for them to spread their wings, instill principles, values in them so they can go out and create their legacy. That's what lives beyond you, your generations. What if you were to set the tone for generations to come after you? Are you going to be that great-great-grandpa that your great-grandkids talk about, your great-great-grandkids talk about? Like, oh my gosh, or grandma, like they did this. They went for it. Look, we're still talking about them. Are you just going to be average, forgettable? That hurts. Gosh, that stings. That stings me more than anything, the thought of being forgettable. The thought of my great-great-grandkids like not even knowing my name because I didn't go for it in life. I didn't chase my passions. I didn't chase my gifts. I didn't go after it. I didn't leave a legacy. And legacy is not just leaving money behind. What are you going to leave behind? What is going to live beyond you? It's time. It's time to start building your legacy. So come back to the beginning. Whose legacy are you building? I realized 3 years ago, you guys have heard my story before. If this is the first time you've heard this podcast, maybe you haven't, I will give a brief overview. I grew up we were fine, but we didn't have a lot. I wanted a lot. I was one of those people who wanted a lot. It drove me. We weren't good with money. It drove me. I got to be good with money. It drove me. I got to go into finance. It drove me. I'm going to business school. It drove me. I got to get good grades. It drove me. I'm getting my master's in finance. It drove me. I'm getting a scholarship. Pain drives you. It drove me. The pain of not having enough, of not having a lot, of not being good with money, of not having extra, of just getting by, of average financial means or below average. It drove me. It drove me into the finance world, which is what I did. It drove me into, I didn't work on Wall Street, but that type of work. It drove me to just desire and have the drive to go make six figures in finance and then think all would be well. It drove me. And that's what I did. 5 years into my career, I realized, what am I doing? I'm clocking in and out of work every day, way more than 9 to 5, building someone else's legacy, building my CEO's legacy, building my boss's legacy, building this company's legacy. I'm literally just collecting a paycheck and getting benefits and doing just enough to get paid. And my employer is paying me just enough to keep me around. That's the relationship between employee and employer. They will pay you just enough to keep you around, and you will do just enough to get paid. It's that drip. It's that morphine drip. It's that drug that keeps you coming back. It's a whole nother podcast. But I realized I'm not out here building my own legacy. I'm wasting my weeks away. I'm waiting for Friday. I'm waiting for the weekend. This isn't me building my legacy and then me blowing off steam and going and partying on the weekend and then rinse and repeat and then waiting for my bonus at the end of the year so I could get out of credit card debt and then doing it all over again. I wasn't building my legacy. I wasn't investing in my future. I wasn't investing in me. I was just getting by day after day, getting by. And when you get by day after day, you look at your life a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and you're like, holy shit, I've been just getting by. Well, guess what? You have an opportunity right now. Ask yourself, whose legacy am I building? You might have an opportunity in your hands. You might have a business in your hands where you can take it and run with and build your legacy. You can go help people. Your legacy is helping other people. The more success stories that mention your name, that's your legacy. If you can go out and do great things, that's awesome. If you can go out and teach other people to do great things, your legacy lives way beyond you. Your impact reaches way beyond you. It's time. I realized 3 years ago, I got to start building my own legacy. I made the leap into business, into entrepreneurship, into going for it, into putting myself out there, into failing, into jumping off the cliff, away from safety and security. And there's pain, there's hurt, there's hardship, there's problems, there's struggle, there's stress, there's financial stress. But on the other side of that, if you're willing to go through it, your wings will spread and you will fly on the other end. But you've got to be persistent through it. You've got to ask yourself, whose legacy am I building? You've got to have the long-term mindset. I'm building my legacy and no one else's, and it starts here, it starts now, it starts today. So I want you guys to ask yourself, take a long, hard look. Whose legacy am I building? And am I deciding to go out and build my own? Only those that can see the invisible can do the impossible.
So remember, you are magnetic.